Alrighty folks, so what we're going to be doing today is a 24-hour challenge, a day in the life with the new iPhone 17 Air. And I'm going to be using this phone exactly the way that I do in my day-to-day use. Now the main thing that I'm super curious about is how long is the battery going to last? I'm going to try to use it for as long as I can without having to charge it. As of currently, it is sitting at 95% and I have been using it to watch videos for the past 30 minutes or so as I'm showering. And it got wet, it got soaked, and it still has a couple of droplets of water on here. And it still is working totally fine. So A-okay on the water testing. Now I am doing this day in the life a little bit later in the day. It is literally 12 p.m. right now. So it is lunchtime, hence why I got some food in front of me. This is some home cooked food from my mom. And typically when I eat my food, I like to watch some videos. I got my trusty dusty stand here. I'm gonna set it up right in front of me. So I'm gonna turn the brightness all the way up. That's how I like it. Full screen mode. And this is the configuration that I use. Alrighty, so I wanted to do some outdoor testing. So Apple has boasted that the new displays can reach up to 3,000 nits of peak brightness outdoors. So I want to see how that is on here, if I'm going to be navigating around the phone, doing some web browsing, if it's going to actually be visible or not. So this is literally what it looks like outdoors, and this is on maximum brightness. And honestly, it looks kind of dull, you know? It's also very reflective. You can see all the background trees and whatnot, the foliage kind of reflecting off of the screen. Now it's definitely still usable, but I'm gonna try to change the background to see if that can help with the visibility. So yeah, that's what it looks like outdoors in the blazing sun. It's definitely a little bit dull and very reflective. Since I'm out here, I also want to test out the camera on this phone to see if it's any good. Pond over here, if you will. So I'm gonna take a couple of shots with this. I'm gonna use the 1x camera, the 1x zoom, and then the 2x to, you know, get a little closer. Now this camera only has two focal lengths. You either have the 1x zoom or the 2x zoom, and the telephoto lens is sharing the same sensor as the main camera. So we are very limited in what we can actually do with this camera, but even so, with the current camera setup, there is still a lot of detail and get really close, kind of like a macro shot. I'm gonna try to stand right next to the camera and get a shot to match where my actual camera is. And you can kind of see the difference between how wide this is versus how wide this is. So there is an ultra wide on the front, which is cool. So I think that is the sort of compensation. I'm gonna take a selfie like this. Okay. Now what's interesting is the wide angle front camera only works in the photo mode. If I'm in the video mode, it kind of looks standard again. I'm gonna do some further testing with this camera. I'm gonna take my dog out for a walk right now and capture more stuff around the neighborhood. This is the standard zoom, as you can see. It doesn't really go that wide. It is a little too close for my comfort, to be honest. Alrighty, so I'm testing out the dual capture mode here, where I can record from the front and the back camera at the same time. I can also reposition it, as you can see. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I can also change the zoom for the back camera, but for the front camera, it doesn't seem like I could do any adjustment. Alrighty, so just a little update. I've been using the phone for roughly about 2 hours and we are currently down to 78% of battery life. I don't know if you guys can see that, but as you can see, 78%. So far, not too bad. I don't know if it's gonna be able to hold out for the rest of the 22 hours. Now in a few minutes, I'm gonna get ready to go to get a massage. My back has been aching for a few days now. I pulled it when I was working on one of my cars. I was hunched over the engine bay for a few hours. So I'm gonna go get that worked out and then I'm gonna take a nap because I do work night shift. And I'm also very curious to see how the battery's gonna hold up when it is in an idle mode or with the always on display, because it's pretty much gonna sit like this. This is with the display off, you know? It's a little bit dimmer, but it still stays on. And I'm not gonna charge it at all whatsoever. So far so good, no complaints with the phone. It feels incredible to use, super slim profile, and even just the whole operating system is buttery smooth. And yes, I am using the phone naked, as you can see. I don't have a case on here, and that's how I typically use my phone. So I wanna make it as realistic as possible, and I'm basically using it as if this was my main driver. Also, I am pairing my Apple Watch right now. This is the Apple Watch Series 11, and I'm gonna use the GPS on this phone to get to the spa, and then we can see how much the battery drains. It's only about a 10-minute drive, nothing too crazy. Alrighty, so I just made it to work. I have a 8-hour shift today. It is currently about to hit 12 midnight, so we are about 12 hours into this challenge. We have another 12 hours to go. Now the phone's battery percentage is only down to 35%, so hopefully we can make it through the rest of the night. I might actually have to put it into low power mode to kind of squeeze the rest of the juice out of it. But this is also a low light test of the camera at night. As you can see, looks pretty decent, not too bad. And if we do the 2x zoom, that's what it looks like. It just looks very iPhone quality, if you will. Nothing too crazy. And this is the front-facing camera, low light conditions. It does look a little bit grainy, to be honest, but I mean, what do you expect as an iPhone camera? It does have a decent amount of detail. I can still make out all the shapes and whatnot. Still not too bad. But yeah, I'm gonna go to work right now, and I'm gonna keep you guys posted as to how this whole challenge is gonna go. So this phone eventually did fully die around 3 a.m., which is during my shift, and that clocks us in at a total of 15 hours of battery life on a single charge. Now, I wouldn't say it's amazing, but I wouldn't also say that it's bad. Apple says it has an all-day battery life, which I could agree with. You know, 15 hours on a single charge is pretty substantial, but compared to the other models out there, like the base model 17, even the Pros, they can outlast this by a couple of hours. Next, I want to talk about the camera. Because we only have one single lens on here, it does feel very limiting in terms of the focal lengths that we can reach. You don't have your ultra wide, nor do you have a true telephoto lens. So what you're really working with is just the main shooter. And as someone who uses the ultra wide all the time, that is kind of a deal breaker with this phone. But when it does come to the camera quality itself, the images on here are extremely sharp. It looks better than the previous generation Pros as well. There's more dynamic range, the color's much better, it's brighter as well. It also performs pretty good at night as well. I tried it in a very dark situation and there's very little noise and there's a lot of detail that's able to be captured. Other than that, I think everything else on this phone is spot on. You know, the performance is there. It has the A19 Pro chip, missing one core from the Pro model. But when I did a performance testing across the 17, the Air, and the Pro model, it actually performed extremely well and held up with the rest of the lineup. So in terms of performance, this thing can do it all. It's fast, it's quick. I would highly recommend it for anyone who wants an ultra slim profile phone. The design is amazing, the performance is there, just the camera, a little iffy for me. But with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.